Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name's Dave Barge. I'm an alcoholic. Usually I say something before people start leaving. It's like, bring me all the way up here and then leave me up here all alone. Man. I'd like to thank Mike for bringing me here. If you like anything I say or don't like anything I say or don't like how I look, make sure you tell Mike. Don't be blaming me for it. He sent Peter to get me in a maroon Mustang GT. Do I look like a guy that rides around in a maroon Mustang GT out in the public in daylight? With a guy in all 49er gear? I'm from LA. We don't wear 49er gear where I'm from. This guy's got, I think, his underwear 49ers. I will share this with you. If anybody here thought you had a problem, don't worry about it, because we solved it driving up here or down here from Sacramento. Whether you went down or up or over, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I'm at. My friend Carol is here. Came from Antioch to see me and spend the day and here with Bert, and they're so happy. They just can't wait for you guys to pass the basket again. They're just been here all day. The guy come here and spoke this morning, and he just keeps putting money in. And that's just the way it works. Just the way it works. I bring you greetings from ROXBURY, Beverly Hills Men's STAG. That's my home group. We meet on Wednesday nights. We meet in a park in Beverly Hills. If you're ever in Beverly Hills, come on down. And be glad to have you. It's a closed men's STAG. We have a couple hundred men. But if you women come on down. And we'll have some of the newcomers stay out in the park with you. We don't want you in the meeting, but come on down anyway. And we celebrated this Thursday on the 19th of January, our 67th year. Our meeting's been going on 67 years. We're the oldest men's STAG and the biggest, largest, oldest continuous men's STAG this side of the Mississippi. All the old farts there brag about that. Seemed like we could find something better to brag about, but we're old, you know. Our format today in 2013 is the same format they used in 1947. Same format. We haven't changed anything. I keep going to all the old guys that go to that meeting, all these 53-year-old guys say, you know, we ought to modernize this thing and bring it up to date. And the old timers there say, well, when it stops working, we'll change it. And so far they haven't changed it. And we're old-time AA, so for you new people, we love to have new people, and we share with all our new people. Try not to drink during the meeting. And then we share with them, try not to drink between meetings. And if you're having a hard time with that, go to more meetings and lessen the time in between. And we encourage sponsorship at our meeting, my home group. When you come to the meeting, if you haven't found a sponsor by the end of the meeting, we will help you get one before you leave. Shouldn't do this alone. What did you say? You had 4 days or 5 days? 5. How many nights? Done. Yeah, you got 18 days and how many nights? 3 days, 2 nights. You're going to make it here. You're going to be an honest guy like that. 3 days and 2 nights. My daughter was here for a while. One day she had, 26 days and 7 nights. She's looked me right in the eye and told me. I said, oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Having a hard time at nights. So a lot of this AA is hocus pocus if you're new the first time, or who knows. It's like 3 days. You follow her, she'll show you how to get to 5. You do what she does, and you'll get to 5. And you follow him, you can get to 18 days. 18 days. 18 days. Long time. Long time. Welcome here. We had a lot of us stand up. I have 14,642 days. Not a contest. Not a contest. So that's a lot of years. I have a lot of years. 40 years. I have a lot of years. But I don't have enough days yet. And that's how we do this, is by days. We do this by days. And we get proud of our years, all of us that stood, that have a year or more, had 3 months and 6 months. We're proud of that time. And time matters when we're counting like that. And time really matters when you ain't got none. And time matters. Yeah. And so there's a lot to it. So I have a lot of years and not enough days, and I'm shooting for midnight tonight. It's my goal. If I can make it to midnight, get another day. So if you want my 40 years, I'll give it to you. You can have it. I'm done with it anyway. You can have my 40 years. Everything about it you can have. But today is mine. Today is mine. And I have my friend Carol here, who knows me, and I guess the rest of you don't know me. If you don't know me, I come from the world of mental health, the field of mental health, as a patient. Spent a lot of time working in law enforcement, guest worker programs they have. And that's part of my story. I don't know if it's in your story. You don't have to go to Metropolitan State and some of the dry-out places, and some of the mental hospitals that I've been in, Black Mountain in North Carolina, Metropolitan State, Norwalk Metropolitan State in LA a couple times. It has nothing to do with alcoholism. It's just part of my story. If you've been here and been to jail, you've been to prison, fine. If you haven't been to jail and haven't been to prison, fine. It has nothing to do with alcoholism. It just has to do with my story. And that's what I'm here to do, is tell you a story. We're people of stories. Tell us a story. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like. What happened and what we're like now is read here tonight, read here at every meeting. What I used to be like. See, I owe the new people that. If I'm at a meeting and I don't share with them what I used to be like, I'm not a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, am I? I owe the newcomers. See, I don't owe everybody that. Maybe we all need to talk about something else, or we'll talk about the intricacies of the 11th step. I owe the new people what I used to be like. And I owe David Barge what I used to be like, because when I forget where I come from, I'm pretty close to going back, ain't I? Got to remember where I come from, so to get an opportunity to share in a meeting what I used to be like. I'm up here tonight asking you what happened. Man, I can't share what happened. I want to know what happened. I was there, and I don't even know. My whole family's got a different story about what happened than I do. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff about what happened, you know. But I get to come here and hang out with you guys and do what you do. Do what you do. And I get to look at what happened, and then my views of what happened in my life change all the time. I found out that I had a part in my life. I never knew that. I thought it was all you messing me up. You know? What I'm like today, I need to show you that. If I'm doing whatever I'm doing today, if I can't tell you about it at a meeting, if I couldn't tell my sponsor how to not do that, that's not what Alcoholics Anonymous is about. I started drinking when I was 5. Somebody said that here today. I had my first drink when I was 5. My folks was having a party. I'm an inner city kid from Detroit, Michigan. And they were drinking these long neck beer bottles, and they went in, they were playing cards, and they put the beer bottles down, and I went as a 5-year-old, and I was taking those beer bottles, and I was trying to be like the grown-ups. And God, it was beer, and I hated it. Tasted, I spit it out. It just tasted terrible, so I went and I poured it all down the sink. My stepdad beat the hell out of me, like he was prone to do anyway. He beat me so bad, I never had a beer since. Did a good job. Lived with my stepdad, my mom in Michigan, and he'd like to do things to me, and when they break me up too bad, they send me someplace and hide me out. He tried to put me in a washing machine and almost ripped my arm off when I was 8, and they sent me from the inner city of Detroit to a hog farm in Saugus, California, Magic Mountain area, if you know that. I lived 13 miles from the nearest building and 2 miles up a dirt road on a hog ranch, 10,000 head of hogs. It was one of my jobs when I was 8. I was with a distant relative, not a blood relative. One of my jobs to get up in the morning and go out with all the Mexicans that worked on that ranch, garbage fed, raw garbage. We'd feed 30 tons of garbage. They'd pull a semi in and you'd pitchfork it and feed all these hogs. It was one of my jobs to go help them, and I remember this day they'd pass the tequila around. And I remember as a kid, 8 years old, grabbing that tequila, I wanted to be one of the men, wanted to fit in. Well, give me that tequila, and I'd take a big slug of that tequila, and I'd spit it and gag, and oh my God, they'd all laugh at me. And the Armenians that ran that ranch and drink that Lord Calvert's. And I'd get that Lord Calvert's from them, and I'd take a big slug of that and want to be, one of the guys. And I'd gag on that and spit it out, and they'd all laugh. God, I hate to be laughed at. Oh, I hate to be laughed at. And we'd do the garbage run, and they'd keep working, and I'd go off and go to school, and I'd come home, and they'd be out in the hog pens cleaning up the mess. When you got 10,000 head of garbage-fed hogs, you feed them in the morning, then you get to clean up the mess at night. It's a full-time job, I'd sneak into guys' houses, and I'd get the tequila, and I practiced, and I did good. That's why I'm your speaker tonight. I got where I could get by the taste, and I could get by the gagging, and I could get by all that stuff, and the burning, and all that stuff, and the tequila got in me, and I held it down, and it was good. And David got in touch with David. I remember to this day, as 8 years old, I could have conversations with me. I was a whole person for the first time in my life. Didn't matter, I was on that hog ranch with all the flies and the maggots and the smells of 10,000 head of hogs. I could drink that tequila and make it okay. Didn't matter, I didn't have any family. Didn't have nobody else. Everybody else had something. I had nothing and nobody. But I could drink that tequila. It didn't matter. I didn't need anybody anyway. I could drink that tequila. And I started right then not needing anybody. I could drink that tequila. I'd go in the mornings and they'd pass a bottle around. They had to fight me to get it. Like that tequila. Because when I get that stuff inside me, I'm flying, baby. I won't get lost in it, but I started going to jail a lot. I got arrested first time when I was 9 and 10 in foster homes and escaping, and arrested me some more. And bad trouble when I was 11. I shot my first guy when I was 15. I wasn't a happy kid. I got married when I was 16 to a little 14-year-old girl. I got married when I was in the 9th grade. I'll share with you, they don't make you president of anything when you get married in 9th grade and you're 16 years old, so I'm a construction worker, was then and am now. Had 4 kids when I was 20. Doing things in the fast lane, work all day, construction worker, work all day to make money and feed my family. See, which is a lie. I made money to feed my family and get a bigger house than you, or a bigger car than you, or a nicer shirt than you, or better shoes than him. All those things. I could get that money to get those things. If I got things, I'd be okay. And could never get enough things, so sometimes, you just have to, whatever you have to do to get things, you do. I remember one time I was working, and I come home from work, and there was a sheriff on my front porch. A sheriff on my porch. My little stuff that I own, my little clothes was out on the front porch, and there was the sheriff giving me papers not to go in my own house. I guess that's what we call when we separate, huh? My wife and I separated. She had the sheriff on her team. Tired of my stuff in that house because I'm a strange guy. Every day I come home from work and be a good husband and a good father. And the next day I'd go to work and I'd come home 2 or 3 days or a week or 2 weeks later. Sometimes I'd come home and hug my wife and kids, and sometimes I'd come home and smack them in the mouth. You never knew what you was going to get from me, and my wife got tired. She got tired. So I remember moving. I moved to a place called El Porto, Manhattan Beach, right on the ocean, a little place there, and got a job offer in Charlotte, North Carolina, construction, and I went up by and kidnapped my 2 oldest sons. This is a woman, my wife, a little 14-year-old girl I married when I was 16. It's 8 years later. I don't owe her anything, so I kidnap our 2 sons and don't tell her, a little vindictive, I guess. Went to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was working there and Christmas rolled around, and my oldest son missed his mom and his sisters and called home and gave me up. Next thing I know, my wife and daughters there were in Charlotte and lived in a singles-only apartment building with these 2 boys, and they were not happy with me there. And then when I moved the wife and 2 daughters in, they really weren't happy. And so we went out to move in Charlotte right around Christmas, New Year's time they were there. And I don't know if there's anybody in the South here, but if there's anybody in the South that could help me with this, it's that everybody in the South has a front porch. They all sit in a front porch. They watch the world go by. If you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Everybody's on the front porch. And so I picked up on that. So I went into Charlotte to find me a house with a front porch. And I rented me this big 4-bedroom house with one of the finest front porches in Charlotte, 3.5 terraced acres and, this big house. And we moved in there early in January. And my God, we got along all month. This place, this time. And February 10th rolled around. That's my belly button birthday, and the kids had a party planned. You know, I'm working good, we're making money, we got the family, you know, another place, another chance. And I went off, got my crew started, got everybody working, everything's cool. You know, I'm coming home to my party. My kids had a party, and it was so meaningful to me. And coming home with the kids, and I stopped one of my foremen, had a quick shooter just right around the corner from my house. And I got home late for Easter dinner. Now, I don't know how many days this between February 10th and Easter, but that's how many days I was gone. And I know I was late for dinner because they were just picking up the dishes. And they were all ticked off. My boss and his wife were there. They were mad. The kids were mad. The wife they were all mad. And then you know how your family turns on you, you know, your own family. And so they decided I had this drinking problem. I had to go to this AA thing. And I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. And so we made a deal. I wouldn't drink for 30 days. And if I didn't drink for 30 days, they'd leave me alone. But if I did drink during that period, I would go to this AA thing. So a week or two later, I'm off on another run. I forgot the deal, but they didn't. And I come home from that drunk. And I wouldn't call them. My then wife called Alcoholics Anonymous. Said there'd be two guys out to see me in about an hour. So I went out on the front porch and I policed my bar, polished all the glasses, you know, cleaned the ashtrays, got everything ready for these two guys. Pretty soon these two jokers come over, introduced themselves, brought them in, sat them down. What do you want to drink? They said, coffee. I said, good. What do you want in it? And they said, cream and sugar. I said, cream? I could fix your coffee up. You name it, I got it. You know, what do you want in your coffee? They wanted cream and sugar. I thought they sent me the wrong two guys. So we sat on my front porch. I was kind of here, and one of them over here, and one of them over here. We're sitting there talking, and I kept waiting for them to ask me if I was an alcoholic, these guys from AA. They never did ask me if I was an alcoholic. One over here would say, how are you getting along with your wife? Before I could think up the right answer, the one over here would say, probably not so good, huh? One over here would say, how are you getting along with your kids? Well, I'm thinking up the right answer. One over here would say, probably not so good, huh? How are you getting along at work? Probably not so good, huh? These guys asked all the questions. They answered all the questions. They smoked all my cigarettes. Don't you people have your own cigarettes? They drank coffee with cream and sugar in it. It was, then the next thing they started telling me about themselves. I was so embarrassed for them. And it's like, a man would never tell another man the stuff they were telling me. So they decided that I needed to go to this AA meeting with them. I thought, Jesus, just being with those guys was enough. And they were going to go home and change clothes and come back and pick me up and take me to the meeting. I said, well, no, tell me where it is and I'll meet you there. And they said, no, we're going to go home and change clothes and come back and pick you up and take you to the meeting. I said, no, I'll meet you there. They said, no, we're going to go home and change clothes and pick you up and bring you to the, you people are persistent. So away they went, and then we got there, and boom, we got to the meeting, and it was in a church. I'm not sure, but there was about 1 million people there. Now, I can't say for certain that I counted every one, but it looked like about 1 million people when we got there. And we got there just when the meeting was started, a lot of driving involved here. We sat in the back. The next thing, this guy got up and was leading the meeting, and then there they do chips a lot. So they called, were there any newcomers? Anybody want a desired chip? These guys picked me up and sent me down the aisle. I come to this guy, and the guy held up a big white poker chip. And he said, this is to signify that you're now, right now, a member in good standing of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he handed me the white chip. Then he held up a red poker chip. He said, we call this a stop chip. And if you don't drink for 90 days, you can earn this chip. But if you do drink, swallow the white chip first. I mean, I'm from the 60s. We had them big white double-crosser Benzedrine. We didn't have you little mini white people. We had the real thing, you know, but it wasn't no poker chip. So then he didn't talk to me anymore, so I went to sit down. I'm going down the alley, get almost to the back. About 4 or 5 people over from where I was sitting in the back was my neighbor. My neighbor was in Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. My neighbor. I'm talking about my neighbor. The guy lived right next door. My neighbor. You know, the neighbor just had me arrested. That neighbor. Not the nice guy who kept his mouth shut on the other side, this AA guy. See, I'm not from the South, so any Southerners, you guys will have to explain this later. Everybody has front porches of some kind. Everybody back there has riding lawnmowers. So I went to Sears and got me a big Craftsman riding lawnmower, fitting with the neighbors, you know. Candy apple red with pinstripes, you know. See, My neighbors get up 7 o'clock Saturday morning, ride their little lawnmowers, and clip their little bushes and stuff. Every Saturday at 7 o'clock. I'm a construction worker. Sometimes I'm just coming home from Friday afternoon's work at 7 o'clock Saturday morning. You understand what I mean? It's like 7 o'clock Saturday morning is not a good time for me to mow my lawn, I'll tell you that. So now it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. The bars close at 1 o'clock in the morning. You go home, you get you a pint of whiskey, put it between your knees just like you're driving your pickup truck. You know, it's a warm, humid Charlotte night. Them little bugs is flying around sparking, and you mow your lawn. So I'm out there they let me in the house anyway. So I'm out there mowing my lawn, 3 in the morning or so, and this AA guy calls the cops. So the next thing, here's this police officer with his big Smokey the Bear hat. He drives his car onto my thing, and he told me that I couldn't be mowing my lawn. I shared spiritually with him that he could take his little Smokey the Bear hat in his car, and this was my lawn, my lawnmower. And I can mow my lawn with my lawnmower anytime I want to. I don't care that it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, he shared with me that I couldn't do that. And the next thing, this officer showed me his gun. I showed him my gun. And he took off and he hid behind the car. I said, well, I got rid of this guy. So I got mine. He called all his buddies. And they all come and I was trying to get in the house to get to the big guns, you know. This is not a funny story. What are you laughing at? It's like, I got arrested for mowing my lawn. I mean, I'm a tough guy in Alcoholics Anonymous. Top that one. I got arrested for mowing my lawn. You know. And this guy is in the meeting. And we sat there for a while. Then they were having birthdays, and this guy took a cake for 30 years. They want me to go meet him. I'm thinking, the guy's been here 30 years, and he ain't got this thing down yet. But then I said, I got the white chip. Maybe I could help him, you know. So we went and did that. And I was like, how long does these meetings go on? You know, and then it said it was time for a speaker. And this guy was talking, and I'm thinking, geez, I've been here about 12 hours in this AA meeting. And I already got the chip. I'm a member in good standing. Let's go to the bar, you know. And this guy got to talking, and I don't even know what he said, but I got to listen. And this guy who I'd never seen or heard before was talking about being lonely. Man, I don't know about any of you. And I knew about being lonely. I knew about being lonely. This guy was talking right in front of everybody about being lonely. He talked about how his family would talk about him like he wasn't even there. And that's how my family was talking about me. What should we do with David? Should we call the sheriff? Should we get him evicted? Should we put him back in the mental hospital? What should we do with David? I said, I got to vote. Somewhere I'd lost my vote in my own family. They talked about me like I wasn't even there. This guy talked about how he loved his mom and his kids and his wife and how he wanted to be part of them. He had his family. He loved his brother. He wanted to be part of them, just part of his own family, and how he just couldn't stay connected to them. He get to drinking, and he felt like a stranger in his own house. And he just wanted to be connected, just be connected to his people that he cared about, and he couldn't maintain that. God, I knew what that was. He talked about he had this hole in his gut, and no matter what he put in it, he couldn't fill that hole up. I had that hole in my gut. How did he know I had that hole, this AA guy? I had that hole in my gut that no matter what you name it, and I tried to fill that hole up. Doesn't matter. I used everything that I could find to fill that hole up, and I was always empty, always empty. I went home to that meeting, had a stomach ache. These guys that brought me to my first AA meeting said, here's our numbers, here's our card, call us, we'll take you to meetings anytime, you call us. And I started going to meetings every Tuesday and every Friday. It seemed like it made my boss happy, my wife happy, the kids happy. Every Tuesday and every Friday. Meeting started at 8 o'clock. I'd go there quarter to 8, get a parking spot, and go in and go to the meeting. There's all these fools standing at the door wanting to touch you and shake your hand, pat you and hug you, ask you personal questions, you know. Hi, how are you? I mean, none of your business how I am. I don't even know these people. Then you go to the meeting lasts an hour. At the end of the hour, they'd pass the basket. They're not smart like you in those days. You guys get the money first here. They'd pass the basket, and the next thing, some sucker's holding your hand, and you're saying a prayer. I don't hold guys' hands. I don't hold gals' hands, and I don't pray. And I'm certainly not going to hold somebody's hand and say the prayer. It's not David Barge. So I invented the David Barge system of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm sure it was on the literature table back there. Meeting starts at 8, go about 5 minutes after 8. You don't have to go by all those greeters and answer all them personal questions. Hi, how are you? When you put the money in the basket, get out of there quick, because if you ain't quick, somebody's going to be holding your hand saying a prayer. I'm telling you, you got to be quick. And then if they catch you and you do the prayer, you got to go out in the parking lot and you got to stay in there till your feet go to sleep talking about stuff, you know. So I'd come a little early. I'd come a little late and leave a little early. Come a little late and leave a little early. I'd come a little late and left a little early in Alcoholics Anonymous, 1969, 1970, 1971, 1972. In and out of the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. 10 days, 30 days, 50 days. Come a little late, leave a little early, sit in my corner. I don't come from a world I'm going to be entering into things. I'd come here and I'd hear, don't drink, no matter what, don't drink. And I'd say, I ain't going to drink, I'm not going to drink, and I get restless and irritable and discontented. Dr. Silkworth says. And I'd go and I'd drink, and then I'd get in trouble or whatever, and I'd come back. I was sitting in a noon meeting in Manhattan Beach, and the guy said, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? I stood up and told him I could stick as sick and tired, because I was sober 10 or 12 or 15 days, and I was restless and irritable and discontented, and I left that meeting, and I went and got me either a fifth or quart of whiskey, I'm not sure which. I went home to drink it. And there was an old timer in that meeting who said, if you be alcoholic, it's the first drink to get you drunk. Not the second, not the third, not the fifth, not the 10th. The first drink. It's like getting run over by a railroad train. If we all leave here and we go park our cars out on the railroad track, if the train runs over you, it'll be the engine that kills you, not the caboose. If you're new, just trust me on that. You don't have to act it out, all right? It's that out front thing. I couldn't believe it was just one drink. I went home and I had me a water glass full of bourbon. One. The next day I had another water glass. One. Next day I had another water glass full. One. I know I killed that. It was either a fifth or quarter Canadian Club. I either killed it in 6 days. 7th day I rested. My guys put me in a little plastering business, and guys put me in a little flop house in a place called Gardena, California. A little flop house, and you name it, to drink or to smoke or whatever you wanted, I had it in that room. I'd sit there, and I'm a sociable kind of guy, so they took my cars and all that stuff away, and I'd walk around and walk for a few miles and go to bars, and my drink of choice got to be a double shooter tequila with a lot of hot sauce. I lost my sense of taste there somewhere along the line. They never would put enough hot sauce in it, so I'd want to shoot somebody or smash the bar, and they'd arrest me, and I'd go to jail, and I'd get out of there and go to the room and drink and think and plan and do all the stuff that we do. And then sometimes stuff would come out under the bed or come to the wall to get me, and sometimes I could just hide under the blanket and it'd be okay, and sometimes I just had to shoot it. And when I started shooting a room, they'd haul me off to hospitals and tie me down and put all that stuff in me, and I'd get out of there and go to the room and go to jail and go to the room and go to the hospital. And that's 1972 for me. It was just what it was about it. One day, one night, one afternoon, one morning. What is it that we do? Do we wake up, come to? Whatever it is that we do, I did. I was in that room, and I was cold sober. It was cold sober, and I knew life was over for me. Could not go on. There was no more drinking. I had all the booze that you wanted. I couldn't go on. Life was over. There's no more running, no more lying, no more BS. There was just no more. Life was over. So I decided to kill my ex-wife. See, I don't know about the rest of you. I ain't big on personal responsibility things. See, I just wanted to be a good husband, a good father, and rich and famous, and stand-up guy. I could look at my wife's eyes. She didn't have to say nothing. I could look at my wife's eyes and see all my failures. See all my failures. I could look at my kids' eyes. They didn't have to say nothing. Look at my kids' eyes and see all my failures. Right there. Think about the guys at work where I wanted to be a stand-up guy, and I wasn't. And somewhere at that time, I knew that if I killed my family, I'd feel better. Made sense at the time. The things that we do. I had a problem. Should I shoot her and commit suicide, let the kids fend for themselves? Should I shoot her and some of the kids? I had 5 kids now, they just keep coming. Now, some days as a parent you love your kids more than others, right? Should I shoot her and some of the kids and commit suicide? Should I shoot her and all the kids? I was having a hard time making these decisions. I was also having a hard time making decisions to get out of that bed and go to the bathroom, so I just sort of went where I was. I somewhere wasn't into making decisions. And somewhere I heard the serenity prayer in my head that I heard with you guys, and I knew what I'd do is I would come to you, sit with you guys. I'll come with you guys, and I'll sit with you guys, and then I could decide who to kill and who not to kill. Because I knew if I come and sat with you, I wouldn't drink. I never drank when I sat with you. I would sit with you for days, and then I would leave and drink. But I would come sit with you, and then I decide who to kill and who not to kill. So I detoxed myself. I've been detoxed so many times. And I finally got out of that place, I don't know how long, and came to a meeting in Hawthorne, California. I walked, I don't know, 3 miles or something. And I came to you in this sobriety that I carry right now. I had pants and a shirt that I've been living in, regurgitating and defecating and urinating in for who knows how long. In the old days, there wasn't a dinner meeting. I'd tell you about crapping my pants and peeing my pants and puking, but you can't say that in new AA, so I was regurgitating and defecating. And, you know, I wasn't pretty inside or outside by the time I get ready to come with you guys. I had a long green overcoat that was so filthy dirty to stand up by itself, my hand in my pocket on my gun. Because when you're going to kill your family, you got to have your peace. And I come in the meetings and had long hair and long beard, no teeth and sores all over me, and different from you guys. I could tell that just by being around you today. I can't remember one person running over and throwing their arms around me and saying, geez, David, it's good to have you. You're the lifeblood of the program. But I went in the AA meetings trying to decide who to kill and who not to kill. I guess I went to AA meetings when they had them, and I went to AA meetings when they didn't have them. I was a regular attender of a Tuesday noon meeting, I understand later, which is a closed women's meeting. I guess I never missed that meeting. So I was just a guy hanging around at a clubhouse where they had a lot of meetings, and they let me stay. I celebrate my birthday on the 18th of December because the old timer said I'd come about a week before Christmas. So I'm not sure what day I come, and at this length, who does it really matter, but that's when I celebrate my birthday. I came to that club every day, stayed there. I'm not a guy you brought coffee to or anything. I'm the guy who sat in the corner, had my own conversations. And sometimes I'd get the itches and the scratches, and when they'd go away, people got happy because they thought I caught whatever was crawling on me. And that's the way it was with me. I was in that room early in February, dressed exactly the same, smelling exactly the same as when I came in December. Nothing had changed. I just hadn't had a drink in 5 or 6 weeks. It changed. And there was a meeting, and a guy was talking and asked for newcomers, and I don't know why, but I jumped up at that meeting and said, David. The first time I did that, and I was in the back of my corner where I'm supposed to be in the corner, separate from everybody. And after the end of that meeting, the guy spoke, and he was looking around. He said, where's that David? Where is that newcomer at? Where is that newcomer at? What I want you to do is I want you to act like a little sheep, and you get right in the middle of this flock, and old cunning, baffling, powerful won't get you. I almost blew his head off. I grew up on a hog ranch. I know what guys do to sheeps. Yeah. Man, sit there and got teary-eyed in the back of that room in the corner by myself. How are you going to be a tough guy sitting there in your hand in your pocket and your gun and get a little teary-eyed and you don't even know what it's about? I went home after that meeting, and it's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm not sure, and knock on my little flop house door, and I looked out, and it was this guy who had been speaking at the meeting. I said, this guy really thinks I'm a sheep. So I'm thinking, should I open the door and shoot him, or should I open the door, drag him in, and shoot him? So I have the thoughts, but I'm not quick. So I opened the door, and while I was making up my mind, the sucker was in my room. Asked me, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. He said, no, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. He said, no, come on, how are you really doing? I said, well, I'm having a hard time sleeping. I ought to tell him something and get him out of there. He looked around and said, you know, if you shut the TV off and the radio off and the lights off, maybe you could go to sleep. Old timers are smart. Shut the radio and the TV and the lights off and just be with me? Man, that's a lot to ask. a lot to ask for a guy like me. Wasn't into being with you, and I wasn't into being alone. Can't do either one. This guy looked around my room and he seen all this booze and all this stuff. I said, "What are you gonna do with that?" I said, "I don't know I can't drink it, I can't throw it. I don't know what to do with it anymore. I don't know." He said, "You ought to make up your mind." He said, "You keep coming in and out with us. You ought to come stay with us, or you ought to just leave us alone. What do you want to do here?" What a question. What do you want to do? Has anybody ever asked you that? What do you want to do? People hadn't asked me that in a long time. I hadn't asked myself that. What do I want to do? I just did what a man had to do. What do you want to do? He said, "I don't know. I guess I want to get rid of it and come with you guys." Next thing, I always tell the story different because I can't really remember. The older I get, the worse the memory is. I don't think I really meant that we would get rid of it right now. I didn't have the immediacy that he had. Next Monday would be a good time. It's Tuesday night, not a good time for it now, but we started pouring all the booze down the sink. Get rid of all of it, flushing stuff down the toilet. I know one of you knows. I keep going to meetings. One of you guys is going to tell the truth one of these days. Which one of you told him I had a hideout in the toilet tank? I didn't tell him. You get rid of everything, but you don't get rid of your stash, right? Your stash is your stash. He went in my toilet tank and got my hideout bottle. Who told him? I didn't tell him. Here's another question for you. Who was I hiding it from? I live alone. Ain't people coming over. The president don't stop by. Central office don't visit. And I got a stash, and I can't tell you this day. So we got rid of all the stuff. What do you want to do, David? The guy looks at me and says, "Why don't you take a shower and I'll watch your place for you?" Man, it's February and I hadn't been in the shower since Thanksgiving or somewhere in there maybe. I got the same clothes on that I came to you guys with in December. Don't even take my coat off. Wrap that coat around me. Keep my head down and grow my mustache long because I got all my teeth knocked out and so ashamed of that. Dragged myself to a place that didn't look anybody in the eye anymore. Here I am in my own place wrapped up in that coat. And he said, "Why don't you take a shower and I'll watch your place?" This AA guy. Couldn't have told you his name. Never seen the guy who was speaking at that meeting. Was from a different area. I don't know why I went and I got in the shower. Oh, yeah. I come out of that shower, and he had went somewhere where I was living in, got clean sheets. He put clean sheets on my bed. You want to talk about big stuff? Big stuff? Anybody here got an appreciation for clean sheets? Man, it was big. Clean sheets. I had clean sheets. I hadn't had clean sheets in a long time. He got some clothes from this guy. He turned out this guy was speaking at a meeting, and he went to that place where I was living on a 12-step call. The 12-stepper roofer, like AA needed a roofer, And he seen me wandering around the parking lot. Midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know about you new people. I had a hard time sitting still. Got to keep moving. I don't know if they're gaining on me or what, but it's hard to just sit still and be just, and I saw him there moving, and he'd seen me walking around there, and came and got some of that guy's clothes. I had clean sheets and clean clothes. Said he'd take my clothes and put them in the dumpster. It's all right. This guy, a guy named Joe Motes, sober over 20 years. Spent the night at my place. Changed my bed, that filthy, dirty bed, changed it. Took those clothes, put them in the dumpster, and brought me clean clothes. What is it we do for each other? When I get the call today, I'm going to say, "No, I'm too clean. No, I don't want that drunk puking in my car. No, I don't go to that part of town. I'm busy. Do I say no or what? I won't ask you guys what you're going to do. I owe big time. Who was your Eskimo? Everybody's got one. Or 2 or 3 or 5. What do you owe? Can't answer that, but I tell you I owe what was given to me. I went to the meeting the next day in somebody else's clothes, and I sort of hacked at my beard a little bit. Elbowed a couple of the greeters. I continued to steal the money out of the baskets. I have no money, and they kept passing these baskets. And if I'd have known you guys passed the basket this much, I'd have been part of this group. See, I wasn't drinking. And I heard him say, put a little in or take a little out. Now, I'm not sure that's what they said, but that's what I heard. See, I could take that chair. We were coming over. Take that chair. You guys got a lot of dairy farms up here. I could take that chair and go sit at one of these dairy farms and sit out there with all them cows. Unless I give some milk or something, I ain't one of them cows, am I? Take that chair and sit it in the chicken coop. If I don't lay an egg or something, I ain't a chicken. I sat in that chair day after day and didn't drink. Took the money out of the baskets. Wouldn't touch you. Wouldn't say your prayers. Sat separate. Wasn't drinking, and that's how we start here, but you can't say I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Wasn't doing anything to be a member. Heard in that meeting that if you washed the coffee cups, you could stay sober. Had never heard that. I went back to the guy in the kitchen. I said, I'm here to wash the coffee cups. He said, no, this is my commitment or something. I just showed him my gun. Honest to God, I never pulled it on him. I said, no, I'm here to wash these coffee cups. If you're new and you don't have a commitment, that's how I got mine. We share our experience, strength, and hope, right? And I washed the coffee cups. They said in that meeting, if you put up the chairs, you could stay sober. So I washed the coffee cups and I set the chairs. And I set the chairs straight. I'm a straight row person. Any straight row people here? I know I ain't the only one. I want my chairs straight, baby. You want to get the old timers' attention? Go straighten his rows out, So I did that. In those days, did a lot of 12-step calls. Went and pick people up, and it's the rule: 2 guys and go to pick up a guy, and 2 gals go to pick up a gal, and that's the way it is. But I do things my own way. I'm David Barge. I sit in the corner and I wash the cups and do the chairs, and you better not touch these chairs because I'll hurt you. So I'd go on 12-step calls. I went and pick this guy up early. He lived over by Redondo High in Redondo Beach, California. He had a needle stuck in his arm in 1973. And he had a .22 rifle. He was going to shoot me with the rifle, and he was going to try to shoot his arm off, and he's waving his rifle around. And I took the rifle away from him and drug him out and was getting him in the car, a big, tall kid, and he kept trying to get away. I kept hitting him with the rifle. And I got him down to the club, and they took him to stitch him up at the hospital. And it's like, I come to get you, I come to get you, I always tell a story. We were talking earlier, Palos Verdes, their speaker's father-in-law, mother-in-law live in Palos Verdes, which is close to me. And there was a call from a woman, and they were trying to find a woman to go on these 2 women to go on this 12-step call, but I went and snatched it and went up there to got her, and she was drinking some wine when I got there, and she was trying to tell me something, and I just kept getting her and got her in the car, and I got her down to the meeting, and it turned out she had called for her husband. She was an Al-ANON woman. And see, so I'm sitting in my corner, and I ain't doing your prayers, and I ain't doing any of that stuff, but I'm doing washing coffee cups, and I'm doing chairs, and I ain't drinking, and I'm trying to do the deal. I'm thinking if I got enough people in here, I do enough stuff, I could maybe buy my way in here or something. What do you got to do to be a member here? I'm doing all that stuff. They called me from central office, and they said they had a 12-step call. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. They gave me the address, and I went out there. There was this real old ratty mobile home kind of thing on a travel trailer thing on blocks, a real old beat up thing, and knocked on the door, and this voice said, "Come in." And I went in, a guy, and it turned out this guy that everybody knew, the police, the fire department, AA people, he would defecate and urinate in bowls and pots all over his house. Then he'd call for help. When you'd come in, he would throw it on you. These AA people gave me that 12-step call. love and tolerance. So he was buck-ass naked when I got him to the meeting. I probably smelled worse than him because I had his stuff all over me. When I come to get you, I come to get you. You know. Had nothing to do with love or AA or care. Don't think I'm even implying that. Two old timers, I want this last one, I'll tell you. Two old timers went and, I don't know why I'm on this kick, but two old timers went and picked this guy up and brought him to the meeting. I remember it was a Sunday night meeting, and he had never been to an AA meeting before, his first meeting. And the one old timer went home and had a heart attack and died. I like that old timer. I couldn't tell you his name, but I like that old timer. So I went up to this new guy who'd never been to a meeting, and I had 8 or 9 months then. I stuck my pistol right down his throat, and I said, if you ever drink, I'll blow your head off. The guy is sober 39 years. We all have our own ways here. He calls me every year. He lives in Indiana. He calls me on his birthday. He calls me early on his birthday. So I'm trying to share with you. I'm going to meetings, and I'm not taking money out of every basket, just quite a few. And I'm doing the chairs, and I'm doing the coffee cups, and I'm doing 12-step calls. I go to the dance once a month and stand on the wall. I ain't dancing, but I go to the dance. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing that stuff. And I'm trying to be respectful sitting in my corner away from people. And pretty soon I got like a year on the program, and my life's falling apart because I got that hole in my gut that I always had. Got that hole in the gut that just eating me alive. And there ain't enough cups to wash. There ain't enough 12-step calls. There ain't enough chairs to set up. There ain't enough. There ain't enough of anything to fill that hole up. I'm not drinking. I mean, for me, it's like a world's record. Yeah. I started drinking. I was a daily drinker at 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. Everything about me is don't get close to people. Don't touch me. I ain't touching you. Don't touch me. I don't do anything with people. And I got this hole in my gut, and I'm hanging out with you guys, and it's just, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I got this guy that he celebrates his birthday the 17th of December, and I celebrate mine the 18th, and he calls me kid. Called me on my 40th birthday. Hey, kid, how you doing? Got one day on me, you know. Now, at this end, it's not very much. At the other end, that one day is a long time. Big difference between 18 days and 19 days, 5 days and 6 days, 3 days and 4 days. We do the whole skit here. He said, well, you know, maybe you ought to get a sponsor, do what other people are doing. Ugh. But my life wasn't working, and I felt so bad that I thought, well, maybe I'll go get a sponsor. And I went and asked this guy to be my sponsor. He said, good, you come on over to my house and we'll read the book. I said, all right, read the book. He said, no, you come over to my house and we'll read the book together and do these steps. I said, well, I'm already doing the steps in the meeting. He said, well, no, if you want me to be your sponsor, you'll come over to my house and we'll read the book. And you can come at Monday night at 7 o'clock or don't come at all. Can you imagine some guy talking to me like that? So I went to his house. Started reading the book together. Said, we got to do these steps. I already did the steps. He said, well, what is the first step? Well, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, our lives unmanageable. I said, oh, okay. He said, but what is the first step? We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, our lives unmanageable. He said, yeah, but what does that mean? What is the first step? I'm thinking, I got this guy as a sponsor. He's an idiot. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives unmanageable. He said, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? He said, I already know all that. What does that mean? So I want to tell him about the anger and the guns and the jails and the mental hospitals. I want to tell him about riding with the red and white for a while and all the motorcycle days. I want to tell him all my big time stories. My sponsor didn't care about any of that. Said none of that got to do with anything. Just tell me about why you drank if you're powerless over alcohol. How do you know you're powerless over alcohol? What does that say? What is that? I found out there that the David Barge that took the first drink is a different David Barge that took the second drink and the third drink and the fifth drink and the 10th drink. Found out I was powerless over alcohol as soon as I took that drink, talking to my sponsor. I found out I was powerless over alcohol before I took the first drink. If I had any power over alcohol, I would have never took the first drink that got the whole thing started. Found out I don't like now. I'm 40 years sober, and I'm not sure I like now right now. My whole life is now is a problem. Now, right now is a problem. Now. I don't know if anybody identifies with that or not. I never liked the way I felt. I always wanted to feel something, some other way. If I was happy, I wanted to be happier. Or if I was sad, I wanted to be sadder. I always wanted to be somebody, anybody but David Barge. Somebody, anybody. Never wanted to be who I was. Lost a dream of who I was going to become. Didn't want to be who I was. And what do you do when you don't want to be you and you don't want to feel the way you feel? You got to do something about that, so I would drink. Sponsor talked about if you're powerless over alcohol, tell me what that means. I tell him about how I failed the judges and failed the teachers, clear to the 9th grade. Failed my mom and failed my wife. Sponsor said, yeah, that's good. That could happen to a lot of people. Heavy drinkers could fail all those things. Tell me about if you're powerless over alcohol. What does that mean? Powerless over alcohol for a guy like me is, and I don't know if anybody can get behind this here, did you ever fail yourself? Did you ever tell yourself, I ain't doing it again? I am not doing it again. I'm not going to do that again. I am not going to take that drink. I am going to be sober at this time. I am going to show up at this place. I am not doing that again. How many times? Not that I told you guys. Yeah, I told you guys that over and over and over. How many times did I tell myself, I ain't doing this again? And I wound up doing it. Yeah, I was powerless over alcohol and didn't know it. Paul said, your life's unmanageable. What is that about? We got to talking about it. And sponsor in 1973 was asking me the questions these guys in 1969 was asking me. How you get along with your wife? How you get along with your kids? How you get along at work? How many cars do you drive going down the freeway? I usually drive mine and yours and his, and because a lot of people ain't doing it right, you know. Secrets of my life is manageable. I should have good answers to how am I getting along with my sweetheart? How am I getting along with my kids? How am I getting along at work? I should have good answers for that. I didn't have good answers. So maybe my life is unmanageable, huh? Sponsor said we need to ponder that. I need to go to meetings with him. He wanted me to go. Sponsor said I had to stop taking the money out of the baskets. He wanted me to go cold turkey. Tried to tell him I need to taper off. Sponsor said you got to pay that money back. I said, I don't know how much I've taken. He said, you start paying it back and I'll tell you when to stop. 40 years, he ain't told me to stop yet. Got to watch. Sponsors tell you to do stupid stuff. Pay the money back. Owed a lot in the world. Want me to get even with you guys first, right now. Get even with you guys right now and stay even with you so I could get even with the rest of the people in the world. Sponsor told me he didn't want me to bring my gun to meeting anymore. He didn't have to bring his. He didn't think I needed to bring mine. I'm only a year sober and I can't bring my gun. You got to be kidding me. Come out with you guys without my piece? Didn't even take a shower without my gun. Why am I going to come with AA without my gun? Sponsor says we're going to do this second step. I ain't doing those second steps. Got that God thing in it. You ain't fooling me. I know what you mean, power grading yourself as a God. I ain't doing God. Sponsor said, no, got to do the second step. That's what we do. Here's the steps. We do the second step. We hassled about that for a long time. And so the power greater than myself is you guys. The chapter to the agnostic, which sort of fits me. You know, a Gnostic is a person with knowledge, and agnostic is a person with no knowledge. That's why we have a chapter to the agnostic. Because I think I know stuff that ain't even got anything to do with reality. I'll die for the stuff I believe that's got nothing to do with nothing. Agnostic, I didn't know. Power greater than myself is faith, if you read the chapter agnostic, and there are 18 times if you're a book person and like to do all that stuff. Second step for a guy like me is you guys. Power greater than myself is Alcoholics Anonymous. If I come and sit with you and do what you do, it's all that's ever been asked of me. Come and do what you do. A while later, the sponsor said, we're going to do this third step. I said, I ain't doing no third step. I ain't making, I don't care about decisions. I ain't doing God. I ain't doing God. He says, well, we do the steps here. Got to do this third step. We'll do it together. I ain't doing the third step. My sponsor says, come on, I'll buy you a drink. He's a mean, cruel guy, isn't he? According to my sponsor, if I want what you have, then I'm going to do what you do. And if you guys are here doing the steps, if that's what you're doing, that's what I got to do. He said, I ain't doing God. I ain't doing God. There was no God when I was a little kid getting molested. There's no God when my stepdad started breaking my arms, breaking my fingers, cutting me up. Where was your God? Where was your God when they put me in all those homes and reform schools and passed me around like an old shoe? Where was God? Where was God when I was that scared little 15-year-old kid and started shooting that guy, shooting others after that? Where's your God? Where's your God that let me treat my kids and my wife the way I wanted, the way I did, not the way I wanted to? Where's your God? I ain't doing your God. I'll do your chairs and I'll do your cups and I won't drink and I'll come and I'll do that, but I ain't doing your God. I ain't doing it. The sponsor said, come on, I'll buy you a drink. No sense you hanging out here and agonizing yourself and us. The sponsor said, I don't, what we do here is we find a God that'll work for us. We find a higher power here. Make one work for ourselves. The sponsor said, I don't know whose God you've been using, but it certainly hasn't worked for you. Maybe that was God of somebody else's God that don't work for you. Got to find your God, your power, your higher power. That's what you got to find here. And we set out to do that. In Alcoholics Anonymous, we do these things together. It wasn't easy for me. The sponsor said, okay, if you're not going to hold our hands and say the prayer, I want you to stand in the circle and be respectful. So I started standing in the circle. Because I wasn't trying to be disrespectful for people, but I didn't want to be. Don't touch me. I only been sober 15 or 16 months. It's kind of early to be touching and holding hands and stuff. I don't come from that world. You can't just stand in the circle and not say the prayer and not hold anybody's hand, because these fools are all the time grabbing a hold of you. And some of them don't let go. So you start. So you just start. That's how it was for me. My sponsor said I had to go to his home group and go with him. I went to my sponsor and went to his home group. Sat in a meeting with him and we're talking, and I remember it was a Friday night meeting and we were there, and I got up, we're talking, I got there early and was talking to him, and I went over and I started straightening the chairs up. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm straightening these chairs up. He said, oh, is that your commitment? And I said, I ain't got a commitment, I don't even know where I'm at. But I don't like crooked rows. I want my chair lined straight. My sponsor said, good. He said, if that's not your commitment, maybe you need to support the person that's setting them chairs up. Maybe they like crooked rows. You ever heard of something so stupid? And my sponsor says, I got to support that person that's doing it wrong. Well, at least they're not doing it my way, are they? Maybe that's what it is. I'm telling you, my sponsors have me do stupid stuff. How am I supposed to love and support somebody who's putting up crooked rows? I've been practicing that for 39 years. Trying to love and support people that are driving there on the freeway and they're not doing it right. Talking at meetings and ain't doing it right. Dressing for meetings and ain't doing it right. Talking during meetings and ain't doing it right. Doing too much cussing at meetings and ain't doing it right. Not doing enough cussing and ain't doing it right. I'll go into directions like that. Love and support the people for who they are. See, I tried to tell you that I was here to tell you a story. And if you're new with us, you're old with us, get a big book, and at the end of the big book are stories. There's a whole bunch of stories in the big book. First, second, third, or fourth edition. And the stories in the back of the big book have one thing in common. One thing in common. They all have happy endings. See, I don't know whether you brought a story here that's got a happy ending, but you can have a happy ending here. You can have a happy ending here. Got to get 19 days first, though. How about a happy ending to your life? Your story with a happy ending. Can you handle that? Yeah. That's what we do here. And Alcoholics Anonymous dances with the people who show up at the dance. And the truth is, you don't have to dance with everybody, but you do have to dance with somebody. And if you come to the dance, and you keep coming to this dance that we call AA, what happens? You'll learn the steps. That's what we do when we go to dances. So I have a lot I could share with you, but I want to share the one thing with you that I know works. And for each and every one of you that's here, I don't care how long you've been sober, I'm talking to the guy with 53 years. What I know is that if each and every one of you get right in the middle of this flock.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I have to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.